Now I will explain you one experiment which was done by me years ago in university laboratory. This explains the concept of the networking of Ethernet of IP. After this experiment explanation, I hope you will understand more deeply what I said during the course. It's very beautiful and cute experiment. The meaning of the experiment was to prove that the packet will be doubled in a switch and will go to another computer. Thus, the security is under risk. This experiment was done because some specialists insist that it's impossible to do. It's impossible to double the packet. It's impossible to read the packet and send to the destination from the fake computer. So let's explain the experiment. Assume that there are two computers connected to each other by the switch or hub. If you don't remember, the hubs are layer 1, physical layer equipment devices, and the switches are layer 2 or data link network devices. So at first, two computers were connected to that switch. Only two computers were connected to one switch. So the first one and the second one. The IP address of the first one was 192.168.1.1 with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. The subnet mask was the same for both of that computers. The IP address of the second computer, second host, was 192.168.1.2. There had different MAC addresses or media access control addresses. If you don't remember, I'll repeat again. IP address is a layer 3 or network address and is assigning by the administrator, or just we can assign the IP address to the computer, to the NIC or network interface card. The MAC address is a manufacturer assigned addresses. These addresses are written to the microchip that is installed on a network interface card of our computers. So when we change our network card, NIC card, the IP address will not be changed because it's assigned by software and remains in the software registries, software configuration files. However, MAC address will be changed because the different manufacturers are writing different codes, or even one manufacturer should assign different MAC addresses to different NIC cards. Understand? So, if you remember, the two neighbor computers that are located in the one subnet, one network, and connected to one switch will communicate just having a MAC address of neighbor. The IP address needs to write a MAC table or ARP cache, where he will know which IP address corresponds to which MAC address. So, I set the IP addresses as you can see on your screen for PC1 and computer 2. 1.1 for first and 1.2 for the second computer, and they were communicating. I wanted to connect the third computer with the same IP address as the second one. At first, of course, the MAC address of the third computer was the different one and was not equal neither to MAC address of PC2, neither to MAC address of PC1. And when I set the IP address of computer 3 to 192.168.1.2, the IP conflict window raised on the third and on the second computers, and network became unavailable. So it means that computer 2 and computer 3 look at their MAC tables and see that the two different MAC addresses are available for one IP address. Thus, they are blocking the networking to prevent the overall network fault. After it, I've disconnected the both computers 2 and 3. After disconnection, by the special program, by the registry, by the device panel, I have changed the MAC address of computer 3 to the same as the MAC address of computer 2. So the MAC addresses were equal. The IP address remained the same as the computer 2 IP address. So in this case, we had two different layer addresses, the data link address and the network address. The first one is MAC address and the second one is the IP address, the same for both computers. And I connected them to the concentrator, to the hub, which is layer 1, which is physical layer device. And I've started to ping from computer 1 to computer 2. It means I've started to send packets from the IP address 192.168.1.1 to the address 192.168.1.2. And what do you think? What happens? Yeah, that's right. The packets were reached to both computers because the computer 3, look at its MAC address and IP address. When on the middle of the network is the concentrator or a hub, the packets will be sent to all the computers connected to it, to all the ports. So computer 3, as before, received the packet, but what was the interesting? It started to analyze the packet. It started to process the packet, and it means it started to recognize the packet as its own. So thus the network security of the small home or small office network was under the risk. So this experiment explains you how the networks work, how the communication between two neighbor computers happen, and you can manipulate the MAC address, IP address to do your own experiments. But remember, in this case, as a center of the network, as a connection concentrator, connection switch, I said not a switch, not a layer 2 switch, but layer 1 hub or concentrator.